Breaking news overnight, a suspect is behind bars after a bizarre shooting in Antioch. Matthew Torres is at the Criminal Justice Center with new information on this. Matthew, do we know the motive behind the shooting?
Shannon, good morning. That's what detectives are trying to find out right now. They are waiting until the victim gets better in the hospital before they can interview him with their questions, again, to find out the motive behind the shooting. In the meantime, 30-year-old Vincent Gooden is now in jail for allegedly shooting Corvette Cave in the face while traveling in the same car. Now, this was our breaking news last night. It all happened shortly before 3 p.m. at the intersection of Rural Hill Road and Bridgecrest Drive in Antioch. Now, investigators say Conley was the driver when several witnesses say they saw the car he and Gooden were traveling in make a U-turn and hit a curb. The car stopped and police say Gooden with the gun fled the scene. Conley, on the other hand, fell out of the car and crawled across the road just to get some help. Now, officers found Gooden around the area on foot, even though witnesses said he was the gunman. According to their description, Gooden still told detectives he was never involved in this shooting. As far as the victim, he is still at Vanderbilt University Medical Center this morning. He was in surgery for gunshot wounds to the jaw and the neck. Reporting live at the Criminal Justice Center, Matthew Torres, News Channel 5.
Thank you, Matthew. Fairview Police Chief Terry Harris turned in his resignation less than a week after the city launched an investigation involving him and other officers. Chief Harris and Assistant Chief Mark Sutton were placed on administrative leave last week while the city looked into a possible conflict of interest involving former officer Ronnie Williams. Now, Williams was cited during a prostitution sting in Nashville last week, one day after starting full-time with the Fairview Police Department. He resigned, but many in Fairview are now asking whether he got that full-time position in exchange for getting the chief and assistant chief jobs at a private security firm on the side. It's a complicated story, but Chief Harris turned in his resignation yesterday, and the assistant chief Sutton remains on administrative leave.
Developing news now out of Oak Grove, Kentucky this morning, where that city's police chief is now at the center of a possible criminal investigation. State police aren't saying much, but we do know Chief Les Langdon and Major Joseph Alter have both been suspended without pay. As soon as we learn more details, we will pass them along to you.
Right now, a robber is on the run after hitting up a bank in Portland. This man walked into the Volunteer State Bank on Highway 52 yesterday, told the teller he had a gun and demanded cash. If you recognize him, give police a call, 615-325-3434. And some new images this morning of the man who robbed a bank in DeKalb County. You can see the thief was wearing a bandana or neoprene type face mask with a skull design. He got away with cash from the Liberty State Bank on Wednesday. If you know someone who owns this type of mask, or maybe you sold one recently like this, call the Sheriff's Department.
Investigators are trying to figure out what sparked a large house fire yesterday afternoon. We spotted the smoke coming from the home on 29th Avenue North from our Skycam around 2:30. Firefighters say a family was in the process of moving in when the fire started. Thankfully, the mom and 4 kids were not hurt, but that house is a total loss. The Red Cross is now helping them find somewhere else to stay.
Well, if you're driving through Montgomery County today, you can expect some traffic delays. The intersection of Trenton Road and 101st Airborne Division Parkway will be partially blocked for a few hours starting at 10 this morning. It's so the Clarksville Police Department and TDOT can reconstruct a crash that happened last fall.
It appears A-Game Sportsplex in Cool Springs is open for business, at least for a little while. The facility unexpectedly closed last week, leaving lots of teams and athletes without a place to practice and compete. But now the owner of A-Game and the volleyball and hockey clubs have set a date to hash it all out later this month. In the meantime, the Sportsplex has opened its doors until at least February 25th.
And you can expect to see a few more cranes in the sky in the near future after the groundbreaking for a new hotel. The Cambria Hotel will be located at the corner of 8th and McGavock in the downtown area. The new hotel will have more than 250 guest rooms.
A new exhibit dedicated to the massive sinkhole at the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green opens today. It'll be called Corvette Cave, the Sky Dome Sinkhole Experience. It will use pieces of rock and other electronics to give visitors an interactive experience. Exactly 2 years ago today, that 30-foot sinkhole opened up, swallowed 8 Corvettes.